Hey Indian Creek 8th grade students, it's Professor Blazek, and I wanted to make this video because in talking with some of you today on working with your trading cards project for the Civil War, there were a lot of you who were asking how exactly you could create your trading cards on the computer because you feel like it might be faster and you might want to include actual pictures instead of drawings. And so I thought I would create this video just to give you some helpful hints on how you can do that. So the first thing we're going to do is change the margins to narrow. This just gives you as much space to work with as possible. And then I'm also going to change the orientation from portrait to landscape. So instead of looking at the page in the typical way, we sort of just turned it 90 degrees. And so now I'm doing this so that hopefully we can see both sides of the card on one screen. So the first thing that a lot of you will want to do is you want to insert a shape, which is going to be the background for your trading card. So if you choose a rectangle, you can make it just about that big. If we scroll down a little bit. And then if you want to change the color, you right click on it, click on Format Shape, and then your fill is the background color you have. So if you click no fill, it'll be empty. But I'm going to go with solid fill, and I'm going to change it to a dark blue because I'm going to do this card on the Battle of Gettysburg, which was a Union victory. Union color was blue, so that to me just seemed like the best color to go with. And now I'm just going to copy and paste so we have the two sides to our card side by side. Now we want to add a title. So let's go back, let's do another shape at the top, and then we can draw a little like banner up here. And then if you want to add text to one of your shapes, you just right click again and you click add text. And so we'll type in the Battle of Gettysburg, and we will add in the date, which was July 1st through the 3rd of 1863. And then we can highlight it and come back here and let's bold it. We can move it over here to the left, size it up a couple times, and then what we can do is just copy and paste, not the whole thing, but we can just move this shape on over here. And so now we have our two cards with the title ready to go. And so now let's go find some images that we can use for our card. So I've just done a Google search for the Battle of Gettysburg. So if we go over here to images, you can see there are a ton of images that you can use. But let's go with this one. You can click View Image and then right click, copy it, and then you can come back here to your cards, right click again to paste it. And then sometimes this might happen where it pastes behind if you have shapes already on the page. So then all you need to do is right click, come here, go to wrap text and click in front of text. That'll bring it to the front, and then obviously you can maneuver it however you want. We can shrink it down so it fits to the card, move it up a little bit, and now there's the picture that we're going to go with for the Battle of Gettysburg. Now let's go back and find a couple more images. So we're back on Google Images, and I changed it to the Battle of Gettysburg flags. Just wanted to have a little bit extra graphics. So I like this one. It shows it's a battle. It's the two flags crossed. So again, we go to View Image, right click, copy image. We'll come back to our cards and then right click again and we'll paste it. And again, of course, it's going to be difficult and paste behind. So again, wrap text in front of text, and then we will just shrink this guy down, and we can put him right here on our top. And actually, let's copy it, paste it, and move it over here. So now we have just a little bit of extra graphic. Again, just makes the card look a little bit sharper. So let's go back and find one more image to put on the back side of our card. So we're still looking at Battle of Gettysburg flags. And if we scroll down, I kind of like this one here with the two soldiers fighting. It's pretty simple but powerful. So again, we'll go to View Image, copy it, we come back here to our document, and then right click again to paste, and oh, it's a big one. Alright, so again, wrap text in front of text. That's just going to be bigger than everything else. We can size this down a bit, and we can throw it in right here. Let's make it just a little smaller. And then there we have our image for the Battle of Gettysburg. So now what we want to do is start writing the required information we have. So just to keep in mind, this right here is the front side of our card. This right here is going to be the back side of our card. So on the front side, you need to include your HP, your super move or super moves, and then your weakness or resistance. So let's insert another little shape to do our HP. Let's do an oval this time, just to mix it up a little bit. So you can put it wherever you want. I'm going to put it in a slightly different spot than I would have before. And so again, we have our oval. Let's go to Format Shape. We'll do a solid fill, but let's put it in red. So now the shape is filled in red, so that is good. We can right click on it again. We can add text, and so let's put HP is 90. 90 is what I've gone with for the HP for the Battle of Gettysburg. And so now, sometimes what will happen when you're typing in these shapes is that it adds this extra space below. It's the spacing after each line. So you can see here, if you go to paragraph, spacing after is 10. Just move that down to 0. It makes your life a lot easier. And then, so let's bold this again. Let's make it a little bit bigger total. And then I just want the number to jump out, so we can make that quite a bit bigger. And then we can move our shape really anywhere we want. But let's move it kind of up here. Let's move it up here, actually. There's not a whole lot going on in the picture. And then it kind of looks like a real trading card where things are just sort of laid over each other like that. So we have it there, and then we can also include it here and our other card. Actually, I don't want to cut those guys off. So why don't we, we'll get rid of the flags, and then we can just move our HP circle up here. We can make it just a little bit smaller, and I figured we might have to size everything down. There we go. Perfect. Okay, so now we have our HP taken care of. So now we want to add our super moves. So what you can do, because typing in these boxes themselves can get a little tricky if it's more than one line, what you probably want to do instead is insert a text box. So you go to Insert Text Box. You can see you get your text box here. You can drag it to where you want it, and then obviously, you know, kind of stretch it out so it fits the page. And then actually what I'm going to do is I'm going to right click on this, format the shape. I'm going to say no fill, and then if you go over here to line, I don't want that line either, so just no line, and now it's like an invisible box of text. So if we highlight everything, we'll come back here to home, we will change the color of the font to white, and then let's add in our two super moves. And so the first super move that I came up with is called Little Round Top, because that was the place that the Confederate attack was really repelled. So we will make the name of the move a little bit bigger here. I'm not going to make the description, which is hold the line against the Confederate attack, that much bigger, just because I really want the name of the attack to stand out. And I don't need the extra spacing, so we can highlight it. We can go to paragraph. I don't need the extra. There we go. Okay. And you can see that I've noted that I want this to be worth 20 points of damage. So what we can do then again is we can insert another text box. Or actually, let's see if we can insert some word art. Let's go with this one. And then let's just write 20. So to show the number. Perfect. This might be a little too big, but we'll see. Maybe not. No, that works. So what we'll do is we can actually just copy and paste this text box so you don't have to go through, like, you know, changing the lines and the coloring of everything. And so now we can add in our second super move and our resistance. So we can stretch this guy out a little bit, and then if we just paste in the other information we have, wow, that's way too big, we can size this down. So the second super move that I have is the Gettysburg Address, because this is the site of where Lincoln gave the Gettysburg Address, obviously a few months after. So again, I will size that up. We can see about where we need to cut off our information. And then I've noted this to be worth 40 points. And then the resistance that I have, we're going to need a little more space, is Pickett's charge, which was the sort of the last grasp at trying to win from the South, which didn't work, obviously. And so what I included for that was that this would give the automatic defeat of a Robert E. Lee and or George Pickett card. And so we need to, let's copy our word art here. I had said that the Gettysburg Address would be worth 40. So if we move it down, we can just change our 2 to a 4. And now we're pretty much done with the front side of our card. So all that's left is to put the required information on the back of our card. So again, to save ourselves some time, we can just copy a text box from the front. We can move it over here to the back. We can change the sizing so that it will all fit. And now for the Battle of Gettysburg, because we already have the date, I just want to include the site, which was Gettysburg, Pennsylvania. I want to include the Union leader and the Confederate leader. So for the Union leader, why don't we center this? And so for the Union leader, we know that it was George Meade, and we know that the Confederate leader was Robert E. Lee. He was the main guy. Okay, so now why don't we make this a little bigger, and then just to kind of clean it up a little bit, we will unbold Meade and Lee's names, and we will underline Union leader and Confederate leader. Okay, so now we have sort of the background of the battle, and so if we copy and paste this again, I know that looks super ugly, you can bring it down to give your background description. And so we're going to delete this, we're going to move it back over to the, actually we can leave it centered, but we're going to make it smaller, much smaller. We're going to bold it, and now you can just type in your background information. So I will just add in my background information. I know I cheated because I'm not going to actually take the time to type it all out on the video. And I can see that my background information is going to be a little too big. So why don't let's shrink down our picture here, and then we can also make the leader and site information a little smaller. We can shrink that down, and so now if we stretch this guy out, we should, maybe if we make this just one size smaller, it should fit. Okay, so if you want to go through and read the background information that I included for Gettysburg, you can. I essentially just said it's the most important battle of the Civil War, gave a summary of the battle, mentioned the Gettysburg Address, Pickett's charge, all the important things that come with Gettysburg in my background information. And so now you can see that my trading card is pretty much done. It's colorful, it's got pictures, it's got all the required information, and just with the few things, the shortcuts that I showed you, hopefully in Word, if you're looking to create your own cards, this has gotten a whole lot easier. So again, trading cards on the computer, super easy with just a few shortcuts. I hope this video has been super helpful, and this has been Professor Blazek, wishing you all good luck.